Good afternoon and welcome back to Scotland. We are live here in the Edinburgh Arena for the European Championship lead final.
As you can see, we've got the competition wall just behind us. It has been reset. We have the women's final and the men's final. Women on the left and men on the right. Yeah, what a final we are in for. Adam Ondra, he's definitely on form at the moment.
I do hope so. We've got a lot of athletes to talk about. We do have the regulation 8 men and 8 women who are going to be going, battling out, really, going through into the final and battling out for that European Championship gold medal. And it's going to be a tight one today, I think.
I certainly think it is. Hopefully it will be a very exciting event today. But let's take a quick look at this VT, and Leah Crane is going to explain how it all works.
Lead climbing involves climbers climbing up a minimum height of a 12-metre wall, clipping themselves in as they go. The competitors will be divided into 2 groups and there'll be 2 routes to climb. Every competitor will climb both routes. They'll already be tied in when they come out for their 40-second observation, but the climbers don't have to use all of this time. Each competitor has 6 minutes to complete their route. If they get there faster, it'll only work to their advantage, as if there's a count back, whoever got there faster will win. Now, for you guys at home, all you need to look out for is who gets higher up the wall. If it starts to get close, keep your eyes on the scoreboard, but Gaz and Mike should be able to help you out with any appeals that have been made or any judges' decisions that aren't quite clear.
Well, thanks very much to Leah for that one. Well, we've known Leah for a very long time, haven't we? She's been competing at a very high level, and now she's actually working for GB Climbing and working with the coaching and training of the GB team. But it's not long since Leah actually did perform well on the international circuit. She was placed 9th at Meiringen in 2018. That's not very long ago, but it's great that she's moved into the coaching side of things.
Yeah, you do see that quite a lot nowadays, some of the really good athletes pushing into the coaching and then feeding down to other athletes. And somebody who no doubt she's led plenty of information in the past to is Jim Pope, and he was really kind of, from the GB climbing perspective, he was one of the big stories today. And you know, we know Jim really well, and you've climbed with him a lot.
Well, we both have. I mean, we were using him as a tester when he was about this high. He was the ultimate tester, really, because he'd find all the most weird solutions to our boulder problems. But Jim really has gone on from strength to strength and just continues to improve. And obviously what we saw on the wall this morning with his performance, it was, I think, the best I've ever seen him climb. He just fought and battled, and that just goes to show what trying hard really gets you. It gets you a place in this final this afternoon.
Yeah, it really was awesome to watch. But there's a lot of talk at the moment, 2019, of course, about the Olympics. And Adam Ondra was the big story, really, from the World Championships, failing to get that Olympic selection, that ticket to Tokyo 2020. But last week in Cran, he won there. He is the lead World Championship, and he's leading the field here going into this tonight's final.
Well, it certainly was a very decisive win for him in Cran. He was streets ahead of the field. And although he didn't win qualification, he took the top place in the semi-final this morning, and definitely does look on form. I think the qualification slip that he had and a little slip in the semi-final, I mean, we've actually got a lot more to come from Adam. Hopefully he'll be able to show his absolute best in this final, because the finals do look fantastic.
Yeah, well, sticking with the Olympic theme, Laura Agora, Youth World Champion. She was absolutely awesome at the ARCO Championships like a month or so ago, and she's got through to the finals here. I think it's 5th place that she's going through, so she'll be out quite early tonight. But again, somebody who's looking to really start to dominate that combined field and has potential for an Olympic ticket.
Again, I mean, she's still very young. It feels like she's been around forever. She's climbed a lot of hard routes in the last 365 days, quite a few 9As and stuff. So she's still improving, and she still has a lot to give. Like I say, she's still very young. Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about the Olympics already, but let's hear from Leah, and she's going to give us a bit of a lowdown on how it's actually going to work.
Climbing is one of the new sports for Tokyo 2020, alongside surfing, skateboarding and karate. The Olympic format will be a combined one, and it will start with speed, move into bouldering, and then on to lead. The scoring will work by taking each competitor's individual ranking in speed, boulder and lead and timesing them together. There's 20 competitors in the qualifiers and 8 will get through to the final. With only 20 spaces for qualifiers, it means the athletes have to be selected from one of the selection events. One selection event has already passed, and that was in Hachioji in Tokyo earlier this year. 7 athletes have officially qualified from that event, and they will not be allowed to take part in the second selection event, which is in Toulouse, France, in November this year. The last and final chance to qualify will be at the Continental Championships next year, in which the winner will go through. There are 2 more spaces. One is an IOC wildcard spot, and the second is Japan's host nation spot. So to recap, that's 7 from Hachioji, 6 from Toulouse, 5 from the Continental Championships, 1 IOC wildcard place, and 1 Japanese host nation place. This event isn't an Olympic selection event. However, there are athletes here who will be competing in Toulouse in November, and we're super excited to see how they get on.
Hopefully that gives you guys at home a slightly better idea of what's involved for the Tokyo 2020 Games, and obviously how to get there. Focusing on some of the athletes who are interested in the Olympics but also are here today, I think the big story really here, as seemingly a lot of events, is the Slovenians. 3 Slovenian females doing really well today. Mina Markovic, great to see her back. Mia Krampel and Lučka Rakovic.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very impressive, and obviously we've not got Janja Gambrat here. She's probably taking a little break and a little rest. I'm sure she needs it. Vita Lukan, who's been putting in some very good performances, out with injury, so she's going to get that sorted, and then I'm sure she'll be back and strong next year. But the depth of talent in the Slovenian women is just absolutely phenomenal, and they just keep going strength to strength.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing Mina and Lučka actually in this final tonight. So let's hear, we managed to grab a couple of words from Lučka earlier, so let's hear from her now.
I've been climbing for 10 years. I mostly climb inside because of trainings and competition, but I really like rock climbing too. So I'm really excited to climbing today's finals. The semi-final route was nice, maybe a little old-fashioned, but yeah, it was a nice route, and I'm really excited to climb later. I have high hopes because of my previous results in this season. So I hope I will be able to climb my best.
Moving on from the Slovenians, focusing on the German men, Yannick Floe and Jan Hoyer, 2 athletes who, let's keep talking about Olympics, they want to go, let's be honest, but they struggled here today. Yeah,
they definitely did. I mean, Yannick was 16th and Hoyer was 23rd, and I really thought that Hoyer was going to do really well on that semi-final because it was physically quite hard, it was bouldery, very low. You had to be a little bit more precise on the volume and locate that thumb with the right hand to make that move relatively easy.
Yeah, it was all around that hold 15, 16, quite a lot of climbers we saw dropping right kind of at the bottom third of the wall.
Yeah, for sure, and I think both those guys will be a little bit disappointed with their performance this weekend, and they'll be looking to up the game at the next opportunity.
Yeah, well, somebody who breezed through hold 15, 16 was Jim Pope, and we caught a word with him, so let's hear from him now.
So I've been lead climbing probably for 8 years now. Started climbing regularly when I was around 9, and then got into comp climbing around 11 years old, and then been kind of competing in lead competitions since then. Yeah, I try to keep a good balance between the indoor climbing and outdoor climbing. I think the two go together pretty well, and I think if I just trained or just climbed outside, I'd probably get sick of each one. So yeah, it's a nice balance. So the last week I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, and yesterday it was the first time I climbed in a while. I felt a little bit rusty, so it was nice today that it kind of all came together, and I felt like I could climb at my kind of how I'd like to climb, and yeah, really psyched to make my first senior international final. So yeah, see how it goes later on. I think because it's the first time I've been in finals before, I don't really have any major expectations. I just like to climb high, get pumped, and yeah, do as well as I can.
Good to hear from Jim. Like he said, first senior finals there. Not the only one as well. A few of the other athletes here. We're going to get all into who done what and where they are in this tonight's final very soon. But we want to have a look at the routes now. This is what it's all about, the European Championship final route. So let's turn to the wall, get away from Gaz and I, and start to focus on a bit of the climbing. Let's have a look at the wall itself. You can see that's just behind us there. Men on the right and women on the left. Gaz, you've been talking to the route setters a fair bit. You're just going to nip off and grab one of them, whilst I'm just going to...
I'm going to nip off and grab the chief, actually.
Yeah, get the chief. He's sitting over there. He's not watching us. He's on his phone. He's texting his mates or whatever he's doing. But you can see just on the wall there, this is a slow pan up the men's route. The wall here is very long indeed. It's just over 15 metres, and the actual climb itself is throughout this weekend. Really, the route setters have put in really classic moves, and yeah, we're just pretty much ready here to hear from the chief route setter. They're coming straight down from the wall. They're pretty sweaty, but they've come and joined us in the booth.
Well, I've got Remy joining me at this moment in time, and I just need to unplug something. That's it, and Remy, welcome into the booth.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're the chief this weekend. What sort of thought process do you start the setting with?
Yeah, so we started the setting 1 week ago, last Sunday, and the process is to prepare first the last routes. I mean the final routes, because we are more fresh, and also this is a route that we need more time to have the good adjustments.
Okay.
So we start by the final, with the final, sorry.
So we're actually looking at the final on the wall at the moment. The men's final is on the right-hand side, and the women's final is on the left-hand side. Do you come with some ideas of some movements or some challenges that you want to set them for the final?
So we had no idea before starting setting. We just took time at the beginning with the rest of the team, depending of the holds and the volume we had for this setting, for this competition. So the idea, the game, what we will propose, the risky moves and everything for the show, we decided that all together at the beginning of the setting.
Okay, and so there's some risky moves in this final.
Exactly. we chose to have one dyno for men and one dyno also for the girls on the same higher in the route. So it's just before the half of the route, and it's quite symmetric. So the men will jump on the left and the women on the right. So it's a little risky, and they will have to be 100% focused on the holds to go in this move. But I think it will be a good, very nice move, like we can now see most of the time in Boulder.
Okay, yeah. It's a really interesting conversation in the climbing world about this new style of dynamic movements, and obviously a lot of large holds. This weekend we've seen a little bit of a combo. We've had some dynamic movements, but a lot of very basic crimping hard on hard routes. We've not had too many tops, which is, some people would say that's a negative, and some people would say that's a good thing, because the climbers are having to really climb at their limit. Is that something again that you've thought about a little bit going into this event?
Yeah, we try to find the balance, because we also like to have some tops, and we took this risk for the final because we screwed the routes easier than it was supposed to be at the beginning. So we will see, but we really play now to have one tops in each final. But we also need to keep the intensity in the qualification in the semi-final, to have the best climber in final first, and also to push the climber. We are lucky to have some climber like Adam Ondra, or very strong climber, and they also need to be challenging in competition, not coming and top all the routes easier. So that's why also we push a little, but it will be a little more Boulder style for the finals, and I think the intensity is a little lower.
So it's a long time since we were side by side in competition. I think 2005 in Birmingham, you took a silver medal in the Boulder World Cup. You were beaten by a gentleman called Mark Croxall with some amazing climbing on his part, and I was in the same final. I was in 6th place in that final. Good memories from that period?
Yeah, it's my best memory in my life in competition. I remember this competition. It was now 15 years ago, but I remember like if it was yesterday, with all the good British team you had at this time, with Andrew, with you, with Mark, and Mark did an amazing final, and at the end 6 Boulder, it was just I think 18 or 19, one attempt difference. So it was big suspense to the end, and it's my best memory of my life in competition.
Well, that's really nice to hear. And well, thanks very much for joining us in the commentary booth. We're going to take a look at the climbers that are now out on the mat, and they are starting the route reading. So we're going to have a look at those, and we're going to chat through those with Michael. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good comp.
Right, so now we have everyone introduced, and they are all out on the mat, and they are starting their route preview.
Yeah, if you know your climbers, you would have seen obviously out there Women first, Luz Duardi, Jessie Pills, Luchka Rakovic, Laura Rigora, Tina Johnson-Hafsters, Jasa Callan from Slovenia, Mina Markovic, great to see her back, and Anacapa Hoeven. They're the 8 women who are currently previewing the route. Obviously they have the regulation 6 minutes to go through the route. In the men's competition you would have seen Martin Burr, Gant, Jim Pope, Nimrod Marcus, Luca Potica, Jakob Schubert, Alberto Ines Lopez, Sasha Lehmann, and obviously Adam Ondra, who you can see in your shot there, him and
you can see
Jakob Schubert
Adam
working
and
side by side.
Working well together, trying to decipher the route, and it looks like they're working on a section quite high in the roof. There is some complex climbing up there, some spinning and some inversions, so I am told. So it's quite a hard section of the route to read from so low, but thankfully, unlike some arenas, they've actually got quite a bit of room to manoeuvre around. They are restricted to the mat and within the fence. But yeah, they are working hard to work out the sequence. You can probably see where these 2 dynamic moves are. The first one is above the black barrel on the men's side, and the women's one is at around the same level above a green horizontal ledge on the left side. So keep your eyes open for when we see that section of the wall.
Always fascinating to watch the different nationalities working together, some on their own, some apart. So there's 3 Slovenians in the women's competition. Jasa Callan in there with the legend Mina Markovic and Luchka as well. They can actually see the women's route in full, hopefully now, as we just pan up through this sort of green and orange route. Saw a little bit of that colour combination earlier.
I see, and just as we turn this lip now, as the camera pans up a little bit more, you can see a horizontal volume coming into view just there in the top of the screen. That is where they will need to make a clip, and they are not allowed to progress past that point unless they've made that quick draw, and the quick draw is marked with an X, and there is a hold marked also with an X where you have to make that clip from, and you'll see from there they have to take a rather dynamic movement out rightwards to the large orange hold screwed on the green volume, and at the same height the men's jump is on the right hand side. It's just out of picture, but you can see the lowest volume on the right hand side. That is the jug that the men will be jumping for as well. So twin jumps in the middle of the wall, followed by some much simpler basic climbing up that continuing overhanging section wall before we get to the steep roof above, and the real complexities start to hit the climbers up there when you get in that overhanging territory.
Yeah, you can see right at the top of the wall there, the Climbers Against Cancer logo just in the middle of the wall there. It doesn't feature in either of the routes as far as we're aware. It's just there for just to show off that amazing charity. There you can see Sasha Lehmann, Jakob Schubert and Adam Ondra all working together to try and figure this men's route. They're on the right hand side of the wall, as Gaz said earlier, mostly on the blue holds and black volumes. They were on the other side of the wall earlier, so the route setters just switched them around on the angles. Alberto Ines Lopez just walking to the camera there.
It's quite an interesting shot there of Sasha and Jakob and Ondra. You really do see the variation in the heights of some of the climbers that are in this final. Ondra tends to tower above most climbers. Sasha the smallest out of that trio.
Quite an interesting, just looking at the lineup a little bit here, Gaz, as the observation, the 6 minute observation continues. There's 4 climbers out there who are in their first big senior final, so it's 4 kind of young guns versus a bunch of legends.
Old guard.
I was holding back from calling them old, but there we are. Yeah, Nimrod Marcus, Jim Pope, Luca Potica and Martin Burgant. See most of those in the shot there. Yeah, they're all fresh faces for an IFSC senior level final, and you never know with the fresh faces what could happen. I think that's when you get to a finals like this and you've never been there before, you're just so psyched to be there, and I think you just go all out and there's no real pressure compared to the likes of Sasha Lehmann, Adam Ondra, Jakob Schubert, arguably Alberto Ines Lopez as well. It's yeah, it's going to be a really interesting element of the finals. Really, it's going to be Be a good one, this one, potentially.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, anything that can happen in there, especially when there is a jump involved. So, yeah, it's quite easy to fluff that jump. But I am actually joined in the studio now by Roman de Grange. I'm just going to pass him the microphone.
Hello.
Hey there. How are you doing?
Like a competition, a sad competition, but that's the game.
Sad competition. Yeah, I mean, there's still quite a strong field here with the likes of Adamandra and the rest of the people in the final. There's some very strong climbers around, so it's not the easiest thing to get into a final here.
It's hard to say. I think Adam, Sasha and Jacob are stronger than the other climber, but that's the final. Everything is possible.
Everything is possible. That's just what me and Michael were saying a minute ago, because there's 4 finalists that have never been in a senior final before. So, yes, anything is possible. How did you find the conditions, the temperature of the competition in the qualifier?
Cold, but we know that for the same for everybody. So we know when we come in the Burr, it's with hot things.
And what's next for you after?
We have
after
1 week of rest to go home, and after there is two more World Cup. There is China and Japan, and after holidays.
Holidays. Where are your holidays going?
I don't know yet, but
somewhere with some
day.
sun. Resting.
Exactly.
Resting. Okay. Well, thanks very much for joining us,
Many thanks for
good luck. Good luck in the next 2 competitions.
I hope to. I need to.
All the best, man. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks very much to Roman for taking a little bit of time out for a quick chat.
Yeah, good to hear from him as always. A total legend of the game. The observation period has finished now, and let's have a look at the start list to see where the competitors are in that top 8. That's the men's field. We have been reliably informed that the men will be going first. So Martin Burr will be out first, followed by Jim Pope. Definitely the crowd will be up on their feet for him. Nimrod Marcus was superb in the semi-finals. Great to see him featuring in this finals. That's, again, one of those climbers, along with Luca Podska, who's one of the first major events that they've featured in at this level. Jakob Schubert, Alberto Inés Lopez, Sasha Laban and Adam Ondra will be following that. Adam Ondra has definitely been the standout athlete all the way through the qualifiers, really. Sasha has been right up there as well, but he was the best athlete in the semi-finals. That's the women's list. Over to the 8. Lou Stuardi, who's going to be out early, super young athlete, so talented, and Jessie Pills, Luchka Rakovic. They've both climbers there who have featured in finals recently, so it'll be interesting to see really early on if a high point can be set, and it could be a hard bar to reach if Jessie goes really well, along with Luchka. Obviously, she made the podium out in Klan last weekend in Slovenia. We mentioned Laura Agora. Definitely one of those athletes who's going all of a sudden going really well and pushing for those Olympic spots. Tina Johnson-Hafstead had a huge battle in the semi-final, and it proves if you don't let go, you can keep carrying on, basically. She just had this almighty fight. It was brilliant to see. Chasa Callan, Mina Markovic and Anacapa Hoeven would be the final 3 out. And Anak, she topped the semi-final route, if you had seen that, or if not, go back and watch it at some point. But she had already timed out by that point, but it certainly wasn't just going to jump off. She wanted to get to the top. It was it was a proper climber's experience, I would say. Yeah, I'm here to climb to the top of the wall. I don't care about the time.
Well, it's certainly a very experienced, a very mixed final. We have some big experience coming in from Mina Markovic and Anak Verhoeven. Anak back from injury, and it does really seem that she is on form at the moment. And obviously we've got Jessica Piltz, ex-world champion, in there as well, along with the young and up-and-coming climbers. Duari from France is qualified in 8th place, and she'll be the first out, so it will be very, very interesting to see how she can climb on this final route of the weekend. Hopefully she can up a game. It would be nice to see her progress up that ranking a little bit. Well, we've got a nice little crowd in there, all wrapped up, ready for some action. Where's your money sitting this afternoon, Michael?
Well, I've said once before, more than once before, and I certainly said it already today, I don't do predictions anymore. Say that, but we just do them anyway.
Well, there's nothing to lose, is it?
Yeah, embarrassment amongst our peers, but there we are.
Well, we are underway now, and we have the first climber out under the wall. It's Martin Burgant from Slovenia in his first senior final in lead.
Yeah, we'll start to get a bit of an idea of what the climbers have got ahead of us there. 23-year-old Martin, big step up this year really. Top 20 in 4 World Cups already in 2019. 15th in Kran and 29th at the World Championships out in Japan.
I think the last time I saw Martin was in Arco a couple of summers ago, where he was playing a little banjo with a beer in his hand.
Well, ditch the banjo, ditch the beers, and all of a sudden your results start coming pretty good. Straight into this first awkward section of dual texture volumes. You can see the progress bar. Get to see that now. That wasn't a feature during the semi-finals, but it will be now. That's a live score in progress bar as well, and once Martin either tops or falls off, his score will remain on that progress bar, and we will hopefully see climbers pushing past him unless he stays up there at the high point for quite some time, which he's definitely capable of. According to Romain de Grange, though, there's a few standout athletes with Ondra, Jakob Schubert, Abarto and Sasha, and the young pretenders are going to be out there just to try and give them some hustle.
Yeah, for sure. The young guys and the new guys into this field, they've got absolutely nothing to lose. They just need to give it their all. And who knows where they can end up if they don't make any mistakes. You know, they can do very well. Yeah. As Remy said, they sounded like they toned down the final a tiny bit. Added a few little jibs here and there. But I'm sure it will still be pretty challenging.
Yeah, that X by that left-hand crimp, that's the compulsory or the final clipping position before heading outright. So we can't go past that hold without clipping the corresponding quick draw with the X amongst it, and that's because he goes down low and left now and starts shuffling up this big barrel. It was a bit of a feature in the women's competition, but there's only thumb catches on it for the men. No side pulls or crimps at all. Interesting choice from the route setters. It's a very big wall here, and people have timed out in the past, so you wonder if slow sections like that means he's going to have to really watch his pace slightly higher up in the route, but he's still got to get there first. See the left leg really shaking under tension, how bad that foothold is. Into a really crimpy section now. This is the first kind of big Hollywood section of this route, then lining up, right hand Gaston, left hand undercut, lines up this jump. Gets it done, a big spin of the feet, big rotation of the body, but it didn't look too much doubt, I'd say. There was an element of doubt, but it was more heart in the mouth than desperately hanging on for dear life, I think.
Yeah, that was a good solid execution of that jump, but obviously hugely committing, and it does play a big mental game regardless of the level of a jump like that. If you're having to do it on a route, on a rope, in front of a big crowd here in Edinburgh at the European Championships, it's definitely going to play on the mind. Yeah. But safely through there. Martin taking the opportunity now to relax.
One thing I would say is if there's a jump, it looks super cool, and it usually is pretty good to watch, but it usually offers a pretty decent rest on the exit of the jump, and that's just what we're seeing here from Martin. So you've got a jump, it usually has to be to a big hold off of a big foot, and he still has his right foot on a big ledge and just going to chill out here. And he have to be careful of time though, because he has dropped under 3 minutes already, and I would say he's just under halfway on the wall at the moment, 24.
He looks like he's making his way now out. Left hand undercut, big toe hook. Cool move here, big rollover, and then this move coming up. Looks like a very hard release. Using his height there with the toe hook. That's the release into the shoulders. Martin doing well here, looking very strong at the moment.
Nice section of 3 pinches now. Just to give you an idea where he is. 32, 33 on the route. You can see the live scoring there. It's around 49 moves on this route. Starting to look pumped, and it was a good performance from Martin. Has his head in his hands a little bit, but I think really that came down to just how pumped he was. No real big mistakes up there.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be really happy with that. Like you said, Mike, He was tapping himself on the head as though he had made a mistake, but yeah, he's come down and he'll be smiling from that. I think he'll be really pleased to have had the opportunity to compete in this final, the first one in senior lead.
You can see on the tower on the right hand side the progress bar, so Martin will stay there now. Orange indicates the current high point. 34 plus. Let's just have a look at the jump again. There's the big swing. It was a pretty big sort of helicopter jump in the end. You just have to watch his left foot on that bolt. We don't want to go down those sagas. There's been plenty of that this season, but we do kind of obviously hope to avoid that here. It's going to be Jim Pope out next. We've talked a fair bit about him, but trying to remain impartial here. Amazing to see one of your friends on the wall.
Oh, it certainly is, especially when you've been around Jim for as long as we have, Michael. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic to see him walking out in this European final. Yeah, I'm sure if he can fight as hard as he did in the semi-final.
Well, you do wonder how much that semi-final took out of him. We interviewed Adam Ondra just at the end of his climb in the semi-final, and absolutely roasted at the end of that. So he tried really hard, and Jim put in a huge battle in that semi-final. But let's just hope he can do the same again here. Martin Berger put a pretty decent high point up there of 34 plus. So yeah, Jim's going to have to really pull one out of the bag here if he wants to go past that. Hopefully he can just remain relaxed, stay happy, and just go out there and just kind of just crush as he wishes he could.
Really nice piece of climbing just at the start of this through those very cool moon-shaped volumes. Dual texture, as you can see. The blue side is with texture and the black side is with a highly polished surface, which you're definitely not going to be able to stand on. Jim just opting to clip from the lower hold there as he felt that one didn't feel it was too happy. This is where he needs to clip this next bolt from. X marks the spot for the clipping hold and for the clip that needs to be clipped, and then now he will move out right onto this large barrel volume and compression section of climbing. This is the sort of section that'll really take it out of you.
He's got the rope caught up in his arm a little bit there, but I don't think it'll faze him too much. It's, it looks bad, but it's not really a problem.
I was just wondering if he's actually chosen to actually do that, to keep the rope, to stop it getting tangled in anything lower down, or to drag on the volume.
Jim gets that right hand gas done now, needs to get the clip, and will line up for this big jump. Martin Bergen got it done, obviously, and didn't look to trouble him too much, but Jim's going to have to give this pretty much everything he's got. He's one of the shorter climbers. Got to watch the rope at the same time. Looking a little bit nervy here. The crowd sort of oohing and ahhing a little bit as Jim lines this one up. Now he's just trying to sort the rope, flicks it out of the way of his left foot. Now he lines it up and just slips out of nowhere. Heartbreaker with Jim. He was really thinking a lot about the jump. It was just his foot went out of nowhere. Just relaxed the foot a little bit. Lost his focus seemingly and just went. It was a big shame that for Jim. He's going to be really annoyed with that. It's just, yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, you can see there was a lot of thought going into that movement from Jim while he was standing on that volume. Came back down to the lower crimp to chalk and then went for it and the foot slipped. Dynamic moves. They're always a challenge. you just have to throw yourself through them without dithering. That's the problem.
Just watch the left foot. Just the left foot went. He just sort of lifted the heel. It's a pretty sloping volume that. I think he was just thinking so much about landing the jump. Didn't concentrate on the actual jump itself. How many times have we said Jim Pope has fallen off the jump, unfortunately. Really mixed emotions about jumps at these competitions sometimes. They can be great, but they can be a real disappointment for a lot of the athletes as well.
I think a big part of that jump may be obviously the distance from that shoulder press and the foothold. The higher you are, the higher you are on that shoulder, the better the weight is going to go through that foot. And Jim being a little bit shorter, quite hard to keep the power through that foot, as we saw and it just zipped off.
You can see from that graphic there, Nimrod Marcus is out next. He's actually got better bouldering results than he has in the lead, so superb for him to make the European lead finals. Won a couple of European Youth Cups already. Marcus, 19 years old. Found out the other day that his grandma lives in London. It was good to know. He was very happy to tell me.
Oh, especially if you want to go around for a cup of tea.
Yeah, cup of tea with the Queen. Speaking of cups of tea, we haven't talked about how cold it is in here yet, Gaz. That seems to be the British theme. Just talk about how the weather non-stop. It's yeah, brutally cold here this weekend. But as Roland de Grange was saying in that interview, that the athletes, they know what it's like here. They know the temperatures, they know the game. It's the same for everybody, and the athletes seem to be dealing with it really well.
Good shot. Looking down on that route there, you can see how slopey these holds are. The route setters really mixing up the styles in the routes, back onto some crimps now. Into this compression boulder section coming up, followed by a jump. It's got absolutely everything in this route at the minute. Really throwing all the challenges to the climbers.
Nimrod choosing to go double clip there off that X marked crimp. Jim, just a slightly different sequence for clipping there. Let's see how he gets on with the barrel. There's obviously a little jib down there for the right hand, a little tiny screw on before just using these thumb catches. It's a really bouldery section this, and that's quite an intimidating position so low down on the wall. Got to go around a huge volume, and you've got absolutely miles to go towards the top of the wall. Big bit of fridge hugging. Gets out of the barrel with not too many problems, assuming he can just bring his right foot up and through. Opts to go left foot high first, and this is into the jumping position now then, the first real point of interest on the route. Let's see if he can get through this jump cleanly.
That looks a good position to make that clip from, maintaining the toe.
Flicks the left foot back, jumps cleanly across the wall.
That was very nicely done there by Nimrod. Opting for the kick flick onto the volume, landing it, lots of pressure through that foot, and then quite comfortably onto that jug.
See the difference a bit of confidence makes. Jim looked really unsure when he got there, but Nimrod Marcus, no hesitation at all, just absolutely launched himself at it as soon as he got there. No opportunity for a foot slip, just banged his left foot on and flew for it.
So with the first three climbers out at the moment, Marcus has passed Jim's point, and you can see on the right hand side of the screen that he is heading for Martin Bergant's high point.
A lot of 3D climbing on this one, toe hooks, heel hooks, jumps. Looking a little bit unsure of releasing this right toe at the moment. He's gone full stretch all of a sudden.
Oh!
Yeah, we lose him on that. He just all of a sudden, it gone from being really comfortable in that rest, put his right toe around the back of that dual texture volumes, and couldn't quite decide what he wanted to do after that. Didn't get the early release that we saw from Martin Bergant.
Yeah, well, that does look like the method, though. That toe hook is needed to maintain contact on the wall, but you need to take it a bit higher up that volume.
Oh, that's lower down on the barrel. We didn't have any issues around here. And the jump, look at that confidence, just planted the left foot right at the back of the volume by the wall itself. See the big kick across the wall. He's unfortunately only got a couple more moves out of the rest. Technical sequences all over this route.
Well, maybe not quite what he wanted from that final, but he's going to be happy having made it into the European finals this weekend. Martin Bergant still sitting on the throne in first place.
Jakob
Three
Schubert,
climbers down.
Yeah, Jakob Schubert is out next. He's obviously not quite ready. That's because it's not Jakob Schubert's time. The local MC has sandbagged everybody there. Luka Potica was obviously out next.
Well, Luka, another strong Slovenian. Is there any Slovenians that aren't strong? We shall see what Luka does on this final.
Luka again, one of those climbers making his first big senior finals appearance, just 17 years old. 13th last week in Kranther. He's obviously going pretty well at the moment, Luka. Plenty of youth first places to his name.
Yeah, it was a big field in Cran, so you know 13th place is very respectable from that event. It's a favourite event with the competitors.
If you have just joined us, Mike Langley and Gaz Parry here in the commentary position. We're actually not too far away from the lead wall itself. It's got a great view. And this is the male half of the lead finals for the European Championships. A few climbers already gone. Women's competition will follow the conclusion. Adam Ondra will be the last climber out. This is interesting. Luka Poska trying to go up the groove initially there. I wonder if he's looking at that again. There's a foothold down right, but doesn't want it. Just goes straight up the groove. He's potentially climbed himself into a bit of a problem here. This is a really big problem, so I can't see how he's going to get out of this. He's obviously thought that that ledge volume was good for a hand. Now he's going to try and get across. Can he get across all the way to the right-hand side here? Could be an early fall, an early upset here for Luka Poska. He's pushed himself right into that groove. You can see where he needs to be, but the next hold is an undercut, so that's not going to be any use to him. He's going to have to potentially just jump out and compress this volume from where he is, or he's going to have to climb all the way back down. Using a lot of power to guppy that volume at the top left corner there. He's still stuck on this left-hand side. It's a basic route reading error, unfortunately, here for Luka Potka. Maybe that little bit of inexperience is showing. Now he manages to get the left flip. That's better. It might work for him. Can he somehow flick his hips and get the weight across to the right-hand side of this volume? Oh, and he can't climb himself into a dead end.
He's going to kick himself for that. He's a little bit angry with that one. Looks like he misread how good that next volume is. The next blue and black moon-shaped volume. He obviously thought it was possible to hold it, I think. But as we have seen, and he hasn't, it is really only a foothold. Round of applause for Luka.
Yeah, it's a real shame that, and shows how important the route reading is. Remember, the climbers do have a 40-second period just before they pull on. They can have another look at the route, and you do wonder if a little bit of a step back and re-review just before he pulled on.
Martin's probably sitting there now wondering what is going on here.
He's still in first position.
Yeah.
Just 4 climbers still to come. You can see it just off to the far left of your screen there, under the giant TV that there. Martin Burgant sitting in the throne, the winner's throne. Jakob Schubert this time gets introduced and actually comes out. Do you wonder if that sort of false intro did just put off Luka Potka a little bit before he came out, but I'm sure the climbers are pretty good at remembering when to come out and when not to. But Jakob Schubert pretty much needs no introduction. Well, I mean, where do you start with Jakob? 48 lead medals to his name, 9 Boulder World Cup medals. It's just the list just goes on and on and on for Jakob. He's just always there, and he's always on the podium. A lot of the times it's at the top. He's an incredible athlete.
That's it. He's not far off 200 international events. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. And the guy is still climbing at the top of his game. Last year, repeated Neanderthal. Chris Sharma's very famous 9B that Adam Ondra failed to repeat. Jakob on the wall now. Let's see what he can make of this route.
Don't forget Jakob Schubert as well. He's qualified for the Olympics, but his appetite to win is frankly insane. He just wants to win every time he pulls on. He's not here to make up the numbers in this final, Jakob Schubert. He is here to win, and he will go to war on this route. little bit quicker through this initial section. Opts for a right toe down rather than a heel, just pasting the right foot. A couple of the heels have been slipping here this weekend with the kind of cold, humid conditions. Drops that right foot back down again. Looks like he's definitely going low.
Looks pretty comfortable at the moment on these first clips of this route. Now he's into this quick compression section. I think it's quite crucial to move through here as fast as possible because it can really take some energy out of you. Swiftly through that section. Just a quick thinking about the clip. Yes, and he does go for the clip.
It's a really sketchy position off such a bad left foot. Really stretched there.
Take a bit of power. That it was quite slow, that clip to happen.
Not too happy getting out of this position at the moment. Just got to get that palm down, bring up the feet. You can see where the bronze medal currently position is. That's Jim Pope with the little bronze line there. Fair way to go to pass Martin Berger at the moment. Let's just concentrate on this jump now. Jakob Schubert's got to get this sorted. Just skittering the feet a little bit, just trying to make a decision. Really annoying with the rope running right over, and he just slips out of nowhere. Jakob Schubert, the slip was even worse than Jim Pope's. Absolute heartbreaker. This jump is really causing an upset here. That's a real shame for the Austrian fans and all of the fans of Jakob Schubert. He was just lining it up. And again, the rope just running right over the middle of that volume. It's pretty annoying, it has to be said.
I mean, we've seen it twice. Both climbers that have been quite indecisive about what they're going to do for that jump have both slipped rather than just committing to it almost instantly.
Jakob Schubert, let it be known, he'll be back to fight another day, of course. But let's have another look. This is through the lower section on the barrel. He had no real issues just to set up into this jump. Maybe we can see the replay of the jump. There it is. You can see the rope just under his left heel. Which foot was it? It was his right foot.
Right
it was
foot.
Nothing to do with the rope in the end. It was just him trying to set his feet. And it is, I mean, maybe it's just really skiddy out there with these humid conditions. Big upset then, Jakob Schubert. He certainly won't be winning the competition here. He's down in fourth at the moment. Alberto Inez Lopez from Spain, the absolute warrior of the 2019 men's field. He's put on some great performances this year. Only two climbers left after him. Let's see what he can make of this route.
Yeah, this young gentleman is an absolute battler. Every single competition we've seen him in, he puts in such a good fight. And he just keeps on trucking. Wobbles, 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 and then he stays on. So he's not one of the tallest competitors, though. He's a lot shorter than Jakob, so we'll see how he gets on with the jump that is to come. But before he arrives there, he's still got quite a lot of climbing to do. Such a talented young climber, this gentleman. Has definitely got a long way to go in the world of competition climbing.
He was on the podium last weekend, around in third position. Let's see what he can make of this route. We really don't want it to come down to this jump. Luckily, we've seen a couple of guys go past it already. Trying to shuffle his hands a little bit. There is a crimp on the side of that volume, really bad one. Then it's just fun catch, like I said earlier. So just trying to get his hands to work as efficiently as possible around the bottom section of that barrel. It's definitely a nice bit of route setting, that, just to kind of get the climbers to do something a bit different. Just wrapping that volume. So pushing up into the nervy jump then. This is where we lost Jim Pope and Jakob Schubert. Let's see what he makes of this next move. Can he set the feet and can he go with confidence? Has a quick look straight away. Sets the right foot. It's quite hard to watch now, this jump. Heart in your mouth moment, really. Lines it up, has a quick look. Oh, false start, rips off the left-hand undercut, somehow saves it. Goes into battle mode here. Oh, easily gets it done second time.
Crowd really impressed with that. A little slip, but then regained composure and nailed the jump.
Yeah, it was a huge moment there. Just as he went for it first time, his left hand ripped, only had his right hand on. Just managed to quickly reel it back in.
If you look closely at the top left-hand corner of that volume, there is actually a small red logo on it that I'm pretty sure will not have any friction on it. You've got to be really careful because that is in the area of where the feet are going. But for now, Lopez is continuing up this.
This is where we lost
final.
Nimrod Marcus. Then let's see what Alberto does. Does commit to the big jump into the shoulder of the left hand. It's a good move by the route setters. Now pushing into this next set of pinches. You can see on the progress bar on the right hand side how close he is to Martin Burr. There he is in the winner's chair at the moment. Will he be dethroned? Alberto's looking really solid here still. Now he pushes in hold 34. He will be sitting in the chair after this climb. Big lock off with the right hand. Flick of the head back. Alberto as Lopez is in battle mode now. Up to a section of blocked crimps now. First climber into this next section. Then you can see the really steep roof section beckons just above him.
As I was saying, as he set up on this route, this guy, this young gentleman, is an absolute fighter. And he is certainly digging deep yet again here as he approaches the roof and this next complex section of climbing. Oh!
You see, as he fell off there, he was looking pretty pumped, it has to be said. It wasn't like he just couldn't find what to do there. It's definitely a huge puff of the cheeks as he falls off. Alberto Lopez goes down with 38 plus and looks like he needs a stretcher to get out of here. Never left wondering with Alberto.
Where does he get that from? Every time he pulls onto the wall, it gives it absolutely everything. Puts his heart into it, everything into it. He comes down, he looks totally broken. It's amazing to see time and time again. He really tries his best.
Let's just have another look. This is Alberto on the lower volume section. Took him a few little bits of shuffling just to get this nice and neat through this lower section. It didn't seem to take too much out of him. It really came after the jump. That's where the route really seems to be kicking in. With two climbers left then. Not seen much of the very top of this wall yet, but it's Sasha Lehmann and Adam Ondra still to come. This is a nice little jump into the shoulder. Big release out of that toe hook. Definitely a spectacular final route, this one. Sasha Lehmann now jogs into the arena. This is where it all went wrong, unfortunately, for Alberto. Just struggling with the sequencing a little bit through there, but at which point, really, I don't think he had much left in the forearms.
Obviously, Alberto's performance then just bumps Martin Gant down into provisional second place at the moment. We have two more climbers. Sasha Lehmann just approaching the wall, and then the leader from the semi-final, almost the king of climbing, for want of another word, Adam Ondra, still to come. All eyes on Sasha now, though.
Sasha Lehmann with a real opportunity on his hands here. Just one climber still to come with a low percentage move with that jump. Just around a third height on the wall is easy for anybody to make a mistake, including Adam Ondra. So if Sasha can get through there and push that high point past Alberto Lopez's point, it's definitely an opportunity for him. 2019 World Cup winner already here, Sasha. Out in Villars in Switzerland, his home country. I'm sure that was a pretty spectacular after party at the end of that one.
Well, yeah, he knows he can do it. We know he can do it. It all comes down to the day, though. Second placed, highest qualifier, as he moves into this quite cheeky compression section here.
Oh, he had to put in a bit of a fight there, actually,
yeah.
Just sliding a little bit.
That initial transfer onto the barrel looks quite hard. You can see that little red logo now just above his left elbow, under his right elbow now. That certainly will be no texture. You've got to be careful with planting the right foot, I think, for that.
Nice little clipping position, using the full right arm just sort of arm barring across the top of the volume in that right toe hook.
Yeah, I think that's possibly the best place to clip from, because as soon as you get onto the crimps, you want to be lining yourself up for the jump rather than stopping and clipping.
He does look pretty comfortable in that position. Now he's pushing up into this jump, and let's see how Sasha Lehmann gets on with it. Puff of the cheeks, kicks to the right, left foot back, now jumps across. Oh, possibly the easiest of all the athletes we've seen get through that jump so far. I could see he really set for it, went with full confidence, just kicked that, rocked that left foot back and just fired it off.
Yeah, that was very steady from Sasha there, very confident. And that's what jumps are all about. You have to give it 100% commitment. Any dithering, any thinking about it, and you will probably make a mistake. Now he's on quite a good hold now, so opportunity to take a little rest. This is probably about the same time as Martin Gant arrived at this hold. Martin rested until just under 3 minutes left on the clock. Sasha seems to be on the same plan.
Yeah, I think these guys are arriving at this juggle after the jump actually pretty tired, so I think we'll see people really making the most of the rest rather than worrying about how much time they got left on the clock, really. It's a balance, but I think they'll prefer the rest over the time period remaining. Big move up here, just trying to search for that right toe hook. What does he make of this big toe hook release move? One of the shorter guys here, Sasha. He's got to push quite hard up to this next Gaston. Full stretch at the moment and jumps into it. Yeah, nicely done. It's a super cool move, that one. He's got his left foot really high, all of a sudden goes to that next pinch with the right hand. He looks comfortable on it. Oh, and does get a nice little cross through match.
That's a good effort to get through that section, going with that hand. He looks a little bit pumped now though, really struggling to make these moves. He's going to struggle to make these clips, double clips here. One. He's going to carry on. Oh, and the right hand blows off that pinch. But that was a really good effort by Sasha. Times himself into provisional second place, I think, there.
Yeah, second place. You can just see it on the graphic on the right hand side. 34 plus. Yeah, it was a really good fight from Sasha. Really good to see. He did look pretty tired at the end of that jump. I was saying he just really seems to be making the most of that rest and push through that next section, but it's definitely had to give that pretty much everything he had there, Sasha Lehmann.
Well, they've done quite well with that jump, because the jump is working well. It's to a big hold, but then suddenly you've not got any feet. Martin Gant is actually taller, so he was able to step down onto the lower blue volume and make a bit more of the rest, whereas Sasha struggled there. He was standing on smears on the wall. It's still powerful even if it's a big hold, and then when he gets into this section that you can see on the replay, he was really battling. He was a little bit shorter from the toe hook sequence earlier on, and this is the moment. Right hand just pops as he's going to that next crimp. He knows, he feels he was a little bit robbed there. He had some more to give.
Adam Ondra now walks out into the arena. Make no mistakes, he is here to win this competition. He's been absolutely phenomenal all weekend, was the best climber in the semi-finals. Just got to remove his jacket there, and Adam Ondra will go into fight mode, unless he might actually keep that jacket on. No, he does. Trying to decide, don't want to get your zip stuck in front of that many people, but Adam Ondra looking really serious now. He's going to take this one. 2019 lead world champion. Can he become the 2019 European champion?
Adam is absolutely the consummate professional with everything he does. Even in the interview, he's so motivated to talk about climbing, to talk about his experience of climbing, and you can see the motivation and the focus on this man who has done it all before. And yes, this is the European Championships, not a World Cup, not the World Championships, so we are missing a few athletes, but Adam is still here to win this event. No messing around. Let's see what Adam can do.
He's got to beat Alberto Inez Lopez. He's 38 plus. We will see progression of Ondra compared to Alberto on the bar on the right.
So that 38 plus is actually quite a long way up that wall. That barrel in the top section, in the steepest part of the wall. So he's certainly got a long way to go, and still has to get through these two tricky sections here. The compression volume, followed by the jump.
Nicely done. Just double shuffle up the barrel there. And really smooth, really confident. Adam Ondra has had a few issues on jumps in the past though. Crowd almost goes completely silent as Ondra prepares himself for this tricky little number across the wall. We've seen 2 climbers fall already, one being Jakob Schubert. Let's see what Ondra makes of it. Got to watch that right foot. Lining it up now. Gets it done. It's a big moment there for Ondra.
Very solid through there, and as we saw from Martin, he's able to step back down with that right foot. That is going to make that rest position a little bit better. Adam is arrived at this point very, very fast. 4 minutes 13 on the clock, so he's almost a minute ahead of some of the previous climbers that have arrived at this rest point.
You have to say, compared to Sasha Lehmann, just bringing that right foot down to stand on the nose of that volume has got to make a huge difference to the ability to rest there. Sasha was having to pace both feet on the wall. To be able to take your weight completely off the arms like that is really advantageous for Adam Ondra.
Yeah, and you can definitely imagine that Adam, when he gets a good hold like this and a good foot position, he is going to recover extremely well.
Just really checking out that upper section whilst he's resting. Just building up the fury, ready to launch into the midsection of this route.
He's definitely milking the rest, as we would say. Here we go. Let's see how high Adam can go. He's opted for the heel hook with the right foot, but being a little bit taller than some of the other climbers, he can reach this next jib easier. Hard release still.
Oh,
amazing flexibility there.
Didn't need to jump into that shoulder. Now he rolls across into these pinches, excuse me. Adam Ondra close to pushing past Sasha Lehmann's second position point. Is it now that black feature slightly higher up? That's where gold medal can be won or lost. Adam Ondra looking pretty solid still here. He's been the best climber through the semi-finals. Adam Ondra now with Alberto Gines Lopez looking on. Can he take the gold medal away from it? Will Adam Ondra be sitting in that chair? Still taking on chalk, resting. Adam Ondra looking fresh still here. Happy on those 2 crimps. Takes that as a pinch on the left hand. Hold 38 is this one here. That's where the medals will be won and lost. Adam Ondra, 2019 world champion, shuffling now. 2019 European champion. Adam Ondra has done it once again. Was it ever in doubt? But how high can he go now? Adam Ondra pushing all the way up into hold 40 through this really complex section of climbing in the roof. Close to 50 moves on this route, and Ondra with a knee bar is just chilling and resting. It's been an absolutely extraordinary performance once again from arguably the best climber in the world. Adam Ondra now really fighting hard, finds another knee bar tucked in under the triangle. Yes, he asked for the support once again. He knows he's done what he needs to do. Adam Ondra, he just does it time and time again. He may not have qualified for the Olympics first time round, but make no mistakes, he is in superb lead climbing shape right now. He's still resting really high up on the wall. He has time as well. 1 minute 12 seconds remaining. It's a really cryptic section up here for Adam Ondra. He's got himself in a bit of a tangle now, but he surely might have something left in the tank. Oh, a hell of a catch with the right hand, the mega unwind. It's a superb effort. He ends up on 45 plus. Adam Ondra, your 2019 European champion, 2019 world champion. He does the double. A superb climb from Ondra.
Well, what an absolute amazing performance there. All the competitors sitting on the sofa watching. Lopez, everybody was absolutely mesmerised by that performance, and all giving him a round of applause. Lots of respect from the competitors and lots of respect from the people that have just witnessed Adam take the gold here in Edinburgh in 2019. What a fantastic performance that was, Michael.
Yeah, what a way to end the competition. It was really good, really. The route worked out pretty much nail on, really. There's a there's always a talking point about the jumps, but Ondra proved once you get through that, make the most of that rest and just powering through that head section. The route was a hard route, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah, we didn't see a top. I'd rather see climbers battling full gas like that than loads of people making loads of tricks and jumping to the top. There you can see the end result. Adam Ondra takes it 45 plus, many moons above the rest of the competition in the end. Alberto Innes Lopez was superb, takes away another podium with 38 plus, and Sasha Lehmann with 34 plus. Martin Burr, Nimrod Marcus, Jim Pope, Jakob Schubert all the way down in 7th position. I think he's going to be pretty annoyed walking away from this one, Jakob Schubert, but he'll be back to fight another day, and it is high fives all round. Adam Ondra takes another gold medal. Yeah, I was just saying there's always lots of chat in the community about how hard the route should be. Should we have hard routes, or should we see people all flapping near the top of the wall? And a lot of people who go around the circuit say that it's all about having hard routes and really making the climbers work hard for it.
Well, I certainly think we've gone through this process of trying to aim for people to the top, and that has resulted in a few count-back decisions on those final standings. And obviously, in this situation, they have set a route that is really challenging for the best climber on plastic in the world, and has been the best climber on the plastic for quite a long time now. Adam Ondra, he is the king of Edinburgh yet again. What a great performance.
Yeah, he gets to sit in the throne. And yeah, superb scenes here in the men's final. The women's final will be coming very shortly, so if you need to run off the loo or get a quick cup of tea, now's the time. Don't go anywhere though, because we will be bringing you the women's final very, very shortly. There's the scene, you can just about see the crowd all the way around the arena. Just the most incredible arena here, so ginormous for a climbing centre. It's quite spectacular. We're down in an old quarry. If you've never been here yourself, it's quite a unique facility. You can see a lot of woolly hats and gloves and down jackets though. It's indoors, but it's well, it is indoors. It has a roof, and that's about as good as it gets.
Oh, we're almost in winter now, Michael, aren't we? Especially in Scotland.
I thought it was always winter in Scotland.
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes. But yeah, like you say, Michael, this is an amazing arena, and it's been the host to many competitions in the past. There's a great shot of Adam on the throne, holding the Climbers Against Cancer cushion. If you are interested in donating to that cause, then just type Climbers Against Cancer into Google. It'll bring up the website, and you can see how you can get involved and donate to a very worthy cause, and that is to seek the cure of cancer throughout the world.
So we'll just have a flower ceremony then. Sasha Lehmann gets announced. Second place, Alberto Innes Lopez. Full podiums will be coming at the end of this competition. Adam Ondra takes the applause though, takes the win. How many times have we said that? No matter how many times you win, it always just seems to mean so much to him. Won't be wiping that smile off his face for a while. It's a good weekend's work for Adam Ondra.
Yeah, it certainly is. And like you say, Michael, it's very hard to take a smile off Adam Ondra's face. He absolutely loves this sport, regardless of what he's doing. Whether it's hard on sighting on rock, red pointing on rock, or whether it's climbing on plastic indoors. He's an absolute legend, and he's a very, very diverse climber. He showed that with his very fast ascent to the Dawn Wall. You know, he's a total all-rounder, really.
There's nothing he can't do, really, is he?
If he wants to do it, he'll do it.
Yeah, I'll take him on in a snooker challenge one day, see if he's any good at that. He just seems to be able to do anything.
You might be able to catch him unawares and win the first time, but the second time you won't win.
Yeah, that's how smart he is. That's what's coming up next, the start list for the women's competition. Luce Duardi is going to be out first, and then Jessie Pills, who's come silver medal here before in Edinburgh. Luchka Rakovic, who we had a little chat with earlier, you saw that in the pre-show. Laura Rigora, youth world champion, will be out fourth. Tina Johnson-Afsas from Norway, Jessica Callan from Slovenia, followed by Mina Markovic, and final climber out will be Anacapa Hoeven.
So, no rest for the wicked. We are straight into this women's lead final here in Ratho. The title for the women's 2019 European champion is still up for grabs as we start this final. First climber out, Luce Douadi from France. Very young but very talented climber. Just running through the moves. Quick refresh of the route reading session they had earlier. 15 years old. She has certainly has a long way to go in competition.
Yeah, she's been doing well on the bouldering circuit this year as well. She's an absolute talent. Youth World Champion as well for her category. First look at this women's route then, section of sort of spikes, fiberglass spikes at the bottom of the wall. It's kind of wrapping the hands around them, quite unconventional grip type really.
Yeah, to those of you that have seen those spikes before, they are really, really awkward to use. One moment they're really good on an angle and you crank it over by 5 degrees and they get absolutely terrible. It's just very cleanly through that section though. Just reaching the first angle change.
She's got a clip right behind the back of her head at the moment. Looks like she's going to push up to this. It's just a ginormous ledge, quite an unusual feature, I should say. I said unfortunate feature, well, we'll see if it becomes unfortunate. It's an unusual feature to see on a lead route, a big ledge like that, and it's there because of the moves that are slightly higher up. When you end up sort of jogging across the ledge, potentially. We'll see. Let's wait until Luce gets a little bit higher into those next section of triangles to see if she can get into the jump. Just mounts up onto the ledge now, full mantle.
Well, it certainly looks an interesting manoeuvre that the route setters have created here. The smaller you are, probably the better this position feels.
Just brings her right toe right to the edge of that volume just to give herself a maximum amount of space to stand up. Now just reaches up into that next triangle. Compulsory final clipping position there. The next hold, you can see it far right of the screen then. Big orange jug onto the green volume. Good couple of meters off to the side, so Luce is going to have to just jump it from there. Unless you can find some other magic. Looks like she's got a bit of a head bar rest there at the moment.
Head and shoulder.
I mean, like I said, it's very unusual to see such a ledge on a route. It's there to create that kind of slightly interesting mantle, but then jumping off of the ledge.
This now with Luce on this ledge, looking across at that next jug. It must seem a very, very long way away to someone like her at the moment, but like Michael mentioned, she is no slouch on the boulders, and she is faced currently with a very dynamic little boulder problem.
Looks like she's just going to try and get her weight as far right as possible. Doesn't like the right foot so much. Just trying to put the pressure through it now. Now is lining it up, just using that foothold a little bit. Somehow brings her left foot up as well. Can she get good contact on the feet? And does. Launches across. Really, really calculated what she needed to do there. Took a long pause. It was a pretty nervy wait for us to see if she could get across. A big smile. Really enjoying that moment. Enjoying the crowd. Double heels on the rest. Looks round for the clock. 2 minutes 36 remaining. Quite happy in that position. She's gone out of one rest into another.
Well, that was really great to see the way she calculated that, built up to it, and then absolutely demolished that jump. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a challenge for her at first when we saw her on the start of that. But no problem through there, and she now launches onto the upper section of the route into the second half now.
Yeah, I'd say that's the end of the fun climbing. The real business now starts. Into that the black scroll inside the big orange fiberglass volume there now. Hold 32 already, hold 33. A section of awkward crimps now. just looking at all the different hand sequence options here. Just fires up to that left hand, somehow sticks it. Moves really fast all of a sudden. Really knowledgeable crowd here. Straight away they realise that she put in a bit of an effort to get that left hand. Punches up to hold 36 now. Big move again here. Holds it. Lou Stuardi is going really well here. A superb performance. Let's see what she's got onto this really steep roof section now.
Absolutely climbing out of her skin at the moment, Luce, on this upper section. There's still a lot of moves to go before she reaches the top.
This is an unbelievable performance here from Lou Stuardi of France. Feet first now, trying to bring the hands inside the feet, just wrapping that volume. She still looks like she's pretty fresh. She's got something left here, Lou Stuardi, and now she wraps that left hand all the way around that horrible foothold. Tries to put her feet back above her head right at the top of the wall here. A bit of a traverse still to do out to the right, just hanging.
She was very indecisive as to what to do, where to go, really confused, and then just was like, oh, I'm done.
I'm done.
What a performance though, that was absolutely brilliant. What a start to this women's final.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable, just to make sure she doesn't land in the judges' table at the bottom of the wall.
Well, I don't know who enjoyed that more, but she has a really big smile on her face after that fight.
Yeah, it was about 4 moves off the top of the wall there. I think the route setters might have got nervous all of a sudden. It's always tricky when the first climber comes out and does so well, gets right up to the top. This is the move to the lower ledge before the jump, mounting up on that volume. Then she took that big rest and just... The way that she did the jump was really nice, yeah. Yeah, top holds 47 on this one. She scored 43. And just 4 moves still to go. So to say, everybody in the arena really enjoyed that one. Superb start. She gets to sit in the winner's throne for now. Such a superb effort. She might be there for quite some time.
Okay, everyone. Big smile there from Luce. She takes the chalk bag off on the throne. Moving swiftly on. Another total legend here. Jessica Pilz, ex-world champion. I'm sure she will be gunning for a few places higher than she is currently sitting in 7th place.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting now because Lou Stuardi's gone 4 moves from the top. Jessie Pilz is one of the favourites of this event. She's coming out 7th in the final, so she's coming out 2nd. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. We may be in for some early tops here.
Yeah,
if that's an early prediction, if there ever was one.
Don't be too surprised if Jessie goes very high on this route, because 7th place is not her usual ranking in these events. So there's every possibility that we will see something fairly explosive from Jessie.
Yeah, she's definitely got that jump to contend with first, though. She's definitely had a really good bouldering season, so you would have thought it wouldn't cause her too many issues. It's a tricky move, though. Opts to go up to that big pinch with her left hand, and then we'll end up matching it. Jessie Pilz easily up to this first ledge section. Let's see how she gets on with this mantle.
Really interesting sequence. This is much more like what you'd see on the boulder wall to get on board this volume and then jump out of it.
Lost for left foot quite wide there. She might have to bring it, shuffle it right in. Lou Stuardi had the right foot on and ended up using that triangle for her right hand. So Jessie's gone to mantle round the other way at the moment. Seems to be making it work. Was having to try quite hard because there's nothing on that next triangle. just the volume itself. Super awkward position. We were talking about the jump, it looks like we might have underestimated how difficult this mantle is. Now she's pushing up into it, but it's a real risk of that left hand slipping. Just wraps the fingers around it, now pushes up. It's a hard move to get into it, but it's very comfortable when you get there, so I'm sure she'll take a decent rest now.
Yeah, that looked like a bit of a battle there. She did opt for a different method than Luce to get on that volume.
You can see that foothold that Luce Duardi was really wrapping, crimping just off to the side of that shot. It's a one screw on that gives you an idea how small it is, and she was using it as a crimp. I'm sure the route setters would have touched that once, thought no, that's impossible to hold, but nevertheless Luce Duardi was really crimping it. Let's see what Jessie Pills does in this jump section. There's that tiny little hold. I think the screw heads themselves are actually bigger than the hold, but such the nature of a jump like this with such big feet, really bad holds can be used. Will she bring up the left foot from there, or will she just jump? She does bring up the left foot. She does look quite happy on that foothold as well. Now just steps back down. It's a really nervy moment here for Jessie Pills. Just really doesn't want to commit to that jump, making sure she gets it right. She does have time to play with here.
Yeah, it looks like it's okay to come back into the, I would say rest, but you know, just a slightly more comfortable position than before. She looks like she's going to line it up for the jump this time. That left foot is up. Yeah, executes it quite easily in the end. A lot of jitters for Jessica on that move, but she's through it well. Takes a quick look over her shoulder at the clock, and she has around 2 minutes and 20 seconds on. She doesn't opt to rest there. She's decided to keep on going.
Yeah, I think she's probably a little bit concerned about the time, but I think this top section could be quite quick to climb. So yeah, Jessica Luce Duardi took a big double rest there, but she did have a rest just before it, so you wouldn't have thought she'd be feeling too pumped just coming out of that jump. Just steaming through this upper section now. Jessie Pills really picked up the cadence all of a sudden.
Yeah, Jessica's still looking quite comfortable, a little bit indecisive there about that move. This is the way, it's an intermediate bump again. And then this move into the button looks quite hard. This is what Luce clipped off, but Jessica opts to go straight to the hold, the green hold in the roof, makes the clip.
It's the big move now, jumping over to that right hand. Opens the doors but swiftly closes them again there for Jessie Pills.
That's an impressive move that from Jessica. She got her feet back on very, very quickly there. So now we are motoring into this top section and nearing the high point of Luce Duardi.
Jessie's still looking pretty good here at the moment. She's going to go feet first now though. Does chuck the right foot up. Moves that heel over to that really nice little spike for the right heel. Oh, nicely done there from Jessie. Just make space for the right hand. Got a bit of a release to do here. Body's going to swing underneath her. Oh, nicely held. Just chops in with the left hand. Oh, the heel blows. Looks like there's a real fight to be had at the top of the wall there. Jessie Pills currently standing just underneath Luce Duardi on hold 42. Give me a tricky one up there for the judges.
Yeah,
it's
it certainly
really
does
cryptic
look
all of a sudden.
awkward up there. I think you do have to get wrestling on that blob and that spin around and put the foot back to the left in order to go down to that undercut on the lower triangle with the black mark on it as well. Then you'll probably go left heel, roll over the top, crimp, crimp, finishing hold. Good view of that jump, opening the doors in the roof there. I'll take a bit of power out, nailing that. This was where she just lost the heel, and then the hands go with it.
Yeah, Jessie Pills hold 42. And that's sort of the giant cone that's at the top of the wall where she had her feet and then managed to get both hands on. 43, Luce Duardi got is the tiny little screw-on spike on the end of the green volume. So hopefully when the next climber gets up high, we'll be able to describe a little bit as to where that position is. Lučka Rakovic now, we heard from her in the pre-show, doing really well this season. Just jogs down the ramp and into the main arena.
The first of 3 Slovenians in this final this afternoon.
Yeah, Mia Grampel missed out on this final. It was a bit of a surprise for quite a few of us here. She's been going so well this season on the routes. Really such depth in the women's competition.
It almost feels like a total lottery with the Slovenian ladies as to who's going to do so well. They're all at around the similar level, and it all comes down to just some mistakes on the day, I suppose.
Last weekend she placed 3rd in Tranja. For the whole crowd in Slovenia.
But Lučka is definitely one of the Slovenian women that is on form at the moment.
She's also a Taurus, which means she's definitely stubbornness. So I'm sure that she will have climbing. Stubbornness to let go.
Well, as the climbers are waiting behind the wall before they come out to compete on this women's final, they will certainly know that they have to climb a long way before they are reaching the high point. They'll be able to tell how long the climbers are on the wall and have a pretty good idea of where they are getting to as well. I think they will probably be able to understand when the climbers have done the jump as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how perceptive the climbers are behind the wall. Actually, they can really tell a lot. If they haven't got the headphones on, they are just listening to what's going on out there in the arena. Like you say, it'd be pretty clear that you've got to go quite a long way just based on how long you are sitting before it's your turn, but also just the cheers from the crowd kind of tell quite a lot to these athletes, since they are in an isolation zone, so they can't actually see what's going on. They don't know the scores either. Let's see how Lučka gets on with this mantle. It opts for a heel at the moment, now just changes it a little bit, still kind of sitting on the heel. Double feet up now, that's it, in that really sort of frogged rest position. Easily stands up and wraps that next volley with the left hand.
Jessie had a bit of a tussle there getting on board that volume, but Lučka was through it quite smoothly in the end. Quick look around for the clock. Lots of time for now. Just under 4 minutes left. You can see that in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen.
She's taking as big as rest as she possibly can here. Hasn't sized up the jump much at all yet. She's halfway of where she needs to get to match Jessie Pills at the moment. Now she pushes her right foot out. Looks like she's going to start to set up for this jump now. Rested for 30 seconds or so. Looks like she's not quite done with the prep. Looks like she's not using that little foot. It's going to go from far left to far right. Doesn't bring the feet up, doesn't need the little screw-on foothold at all.
Yeah, very well executed that by Lučka. She is also quite adept at the old bouldering skills, so you know they will be fairly happy at committing to a jump like that. You can see the score, the live scoring system on the right hand side of your screen cranking up as Lučka makes her way up this central section of this huge competition wall here in Ratho.
Really enjoying how this route builds up. It's really steady up to that jump, and then it really kicks in. You just got to start sprinting it to the top. There you can see Luce and Jessie Pills looking on. Miss Dwadi currently sitting in the first position. That's why she's in the big Scottish throne. Just really locked off on that left-hand crimp at the moment. Uses the intermediate now. Another spectacular move coming up slightly higher up off of that big green pinch.
Lučka is the first lady to clip off that right hand. Certainly likes the crimps by the looks of it. Now into the big pinch in the roof. And this quite cool move. Sticks that well, gets the left foot back on. Just needs to rose through and make this clip.
Lučka Rakovic now from Slovenia pushing into the roof section. This is where the medals are decided, slightly higher up now. Next couple of moves. You can see it on the bar on the right how close she is.
Well, this is what it's all about. How much does she have left in the tank now to try and work out this sequence?
Hold 42 is that big cone where just by her right shin, that's hold 42. Hold 43 is the one, this is the high point, that's what she's got her heel on at the moment. Oh, she looks comfortable through there, crosses through. No feet first action for Lučka Rakovic really. High point is being really set here, just 2 moves from the top now. Lučka Rakovic, this could be an early top here in this Women's European Championship final. One more crimp with the right hand and a big move to a big volume to finish. Can Lučka Rakovic from Slovenia find a top here? Squeezes out hold number 47. Now he's just got to jump for the finish. He looks tired. That was a great battle.
That was very, very close. In the end, I think it was that right foot that blew, but that was probably because the arms were so gassed. She couldn't keep the tension and keep the weight through the feet at the end of the day. I'm sure we'll see a replay in a moment. But that was an excellent performance by Lučka Rakovic. Very close to the top. One more move. That is the new high point. Here we go with the replay. Getting on that box, ready for the jump. Big left to right jump for Lučka on that. Solid though.
Yeah, in many ways this women's route is kind of like the men's route, that has a bit of a show in it at the bottom of the wall, and then from halfway onwards it's just about endurance climbing and blasting up this wall. Such is the height of this wall, the route sets have really got flexibility to put a bit of everything in there.
Here you can see the last few moves, and there the right foot just goes before she manages to take the right hand off.
Yeah, the right foot must have just been smearing on the wall really.
Yeah, she didn't quite get a real bite at that move, which is a shame. But there she is, she's sat on the throne, currently in first place.
Now Rigora then and Chasakana coming up. They both fell on a jump in the qualification round. Let's see what they make of this one. Out to the right, and hopefully Laura Rigora can get there, and hopefully she can get past it. But yeah, it was really interesting in the women's competition. In the qualification round, it was 8 women all fell on the same move.
Laura being one of them.
Yep. Round move 16, so it was really low on the route in qualification, but just did enough on the second route to get through to the semis, and obviously did enough in the semi-final itself to make it through to this final. Very different jump in this final compared to the qualifications one, though. That one was more of a sort of straight up distance jump, and this is a lot more sort of nervy but sideways.
Well, and we've seen a few ways to do it as well, so it has already been done by slightly taller competitor from the field here, and also slightly smaller with 2 different methods. So, you know, I think it's possible for Laura to do the jump. Comes out of a rest, and there is that tiny, tiny button that some of the climbers have been using as well, just to help her get a little bit closer to that big hold out past the X's. But meanwhile, she's still got quite a few moves to get there.
Statically up to the ledge there.
Yeah, very steady to that point.
Seen a few people go punching that to that volume with a little bit more force, but she really statically by bringing that left foot up. See how she gets on with this mantle then. Another one of the climbers who prefers the lace-up shoes, but has to double the laces all the way around, twice on around the foot then before doing them up. See there, get those boots rucked in extra tight. Not looking 100% comfortable at the moment. Looks like she's going to use the same method as Luz Tuadi by shuffling that hand across and using the volume, but she's got a foot sort of planted quite far back on that volume at the moment. Just needs to bring it right to the front or stand it on the toe. Looks like she's going to try on the other side using the left. The closer you can bring the feet into the centre of the body, easier it's going to be. And currently it looks like she's going to try and stand it from there, but she won't be able to reach it. Now goes back to the right foot. A really awkward position to be on the wall here. Now she looks like she's got it sorted.
That's a great little sequence there on this route. Something we don't normally see. A really awkward position to get just stood up on a very big volume. It's much more boulder style, as is this next move. She's clipped the long draw marked with the X from the hold marked with the X.
Yeah,
a little bit moment to have a rest.
Tiny little hold that she's the route says are put on just to help with that jump if you need it. It's just in. So about 30 centimetres to the right of that hanging quick draw. Maybe we can get a bit of a close-up of that to see how bad that hold is. There you can see it. You can see the huge ledge that she's on and the tiny little intermediate that Lučka Rakovic didn't even bother using. There you can see it's more of like a thumb sprag than anything else. Laura Gora's lining this one up now then. Can she get cleanly through this jump? She had a problem with a jump in the qualification round, but can she get it done in this finals? Oh, it does it really nicely, really launches across the wall. No issues on that jump.
That's great to see. That'll be a weight off her shoulders. Now she can really focus and bear down on this top section, and let's see how far she can go. Punchy move up to that green volume.
She pulled quite hard on that left hand, sloping sort of edge before moving into that crimp in the volume there. Just trying a fair bit here, Laura Gora.
Same method as the previous girls, putting that right foot up first, just using the right hand intermediate to rock over, get the weight over that right foot. And then this left hand, this is where some people have clipped from before, instead of going to the big hold in the roof. Big move now for Laura.
She is looking tired. Looks like she's going to stretch from low. Interesting, I thought she was going to bring her foot up there, but does go all the way. I've seen many different female athletes here just using different sequences. This is the big jump over. Oh, and holds it just about front 3 fingers. Good angle there to see her cutting loose on the wall. Crowd just willing that quick draw closer to her.
Quick look over at the clock. She's got 1 minute remaining. Still quite a reasonable amount of time. She's taking the opportunity to swap hands on this hold. A little bit short back on the fingers. This is where it all starts to happen now. She's absolutely climbing out of her skin now. She looks like she's starting to struggle. Big move up again for Laura. Good style here. Very good use of the heel, toe. Now, like Lučka, can she get her foot down onto the volume below? That was the key. Yes, she does. Takes that heel off. Has she got anything left from here now? She's only got 15 seconds on the clock. She's going to have to motor. She's going to get a high point.
Nice little unwind there for Laura Gora. She is struggling for time though. 5 seconds left. This one's going to be really close. Just comes up half a move short of Lučka Rakovic there. Good effort, and this one is a really close one here in this final at the moment. 4 climbers down, 4 to go, all of them being separated in the top couple of moves at the moment.
Yeah, this is turning into an absolute corker. We've got Lučka Rakovic on 46 plus, Laura, who you just saw then, 45 plus. And then from France, Douadi, 43. Jessica Piltz on 42. So very close at the top there, but it looks like a perfect ranking at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good fight from Laura Gora there. Let's have a look at the replay. This is just right down at the bottom of the wall. It's such a huge wall here. The jump really caused her no issues. She did really well to kind of take that issues that she had in the qualification round, just forget about it and push on with what's in front of you.
It's quite an impressive route this, I think, Michael. I think the route setters have done a really good job because it has got thrills and spills on it, and it seems to be working for the shorter climber and for the taller climber. So great job up to now from the route setters for the women's final.
Yeah, I'm going to put an asterisk up to now. Let's see. Let's see what happens. See Tina Johnson Afses for Norway then. 25 years old. She's been up and down a little bit on the IFSC tour. Looks like she's back in form now though.
She looked like she enjoyed herself in the semi-final. So she's really pleased to be climbing in this final.
Yeah, she put an epic battle in the semis. It was definitely one to watch. You want to be inspired about how to try hard on a route. It's been a really quick turnaround here, actually, between the semi-final round and the final round. Sometimes there's a big delay. Some of the French comps, for example, semi-finals in the morning and then the finals really late at night. Some of them start at 9 p.m, but this one started at 2:30 in the afternoon. I said that it was a pretty brutal start for the climbers. A lot of them having breakfast at 6:30, 7 a.m. to get ready for a 8:30 start here for the semi-final. So climbers been up for quite a few hours now. Not sure if some of the officials were too impressed with the early start. But there we are, early start, early finish.
I know we weren't. Well, Tina Jonsson making steady progress up this bottom wall. Probably, I say, easy climbing, relatively easy climbing to what's coming in that top roof. But it's always going to take the edge off the climber. Always going to take a little bit of power out of the arms.
Yeah, I really like
energy.
Like the analogy of the car with its petrol tank. Not putting the accelerator down through that lower section, but just burning a little bit of fuel. And climbing is all about, lead climbing is all about just burning the fuel in the most efficient way possible, but putting the power down when you need to. You can just see the petrol tank emptying higher and higher you go.
It's amazing how big Adam Ondra's petrol tank is, to be honest.
Maybe he's got 2 tanks.
Well, one in either arm.
It's very true.
Great close-up of this section now. Really awkward to get on top of this volume. We've seen numerous methods. We've also seen that having that right foot buried so far back against the wall does seem to cause a few problems. So you can see Tina working that foot out to the edge, the toe, outside left, as Laura did as well. Through there a little bit faster than Laura.
See the chalk's really building up on that volume as so many climbers have rested there. Inevitably when climbers are resting, just pile on the chalk. Kind of like the men's jump, really. A big air of anticipation just sits over the arena as they prepare to do the jump. It all goes very quiet. Amazing really for the athletes just to manage to maintain complete composure, because everybody is looking at you, all eyes in the arena right centered on you and what you're about to do, but they just seem to stay really relaxed, just forget about everybody else, just focus on this jump. She's actually running really low on time already.
Yeah, it's a good setup here. We've got 2 very big screens on the floor. You've not been able to see them on your live feed, but they are huge timer screens, so it's very easy for the athletes to locate the timer and keep an eye on what they are doing. But Tina Jonsson definitely using a little bit of time at the moment here.
She's a bit of a wince on the face there. She doesn't like the look of this one. Just got to commit to moving now with 2 minutes to go. If she wants to get anywhere near that high point, she's got to get a move on. Looks like she's just sizing up whether she can jump from there or she's going to use that tiny little intermediate. Still not happy with it. Now she uses that as a little thumb catch, just tests it, see if it's of any use. Now uses it again. Crowd responds. Gives her an idea she's doing it right. Just flat footing that right foot now and does hit it. Took a long time to commit to it, over 40 seconds in the end once she got into the position just to line up that jump and go for it. With 1 minute 22, she's got to really motor up this top section now.
Yeah, she's looking quite comfortable, but all that waiting, indecision on that jump has really sapped the time out of that clock. 1 minute 10 seconds. She's got a long way to go.
Under a minute now. You can see the way that she's just picked up the speed. Obviously the moves have increased massively in difficulty, and it's a very different style. There's that go again move that we've seen a couple of people touch and drop back down. Uses it as an intermediate preferably for the right hand. Heel hook in that big dish made it slightly awkward rather than a toe.
Still got another 10 moves or so and 2 quick clips to make before she gets near the high point, and she only has 20 seconds to do it. Committing move here now, as we've seen already. Nails it well. Let's get this clip quickly.
If she doesn't fall off before, she's definitely running out of time here. She will run out of time. The local MC will tell her on the microphone that she's going to run out of time. I mean, she was looking a little bit tired, but that's the game with these jumps. You've got to commit to them quite quickly, because 6 minutes is not a long period of time for a wall this long. Route setters, they know that. They put these jumps in, and it's up to the climbers to calculate the game in front of them. I think she's going to be a bit disappointed yeah, somebody out there can replay and see how long she was standing on that ledge paw from moving. It must have been close to 2 minutes. A third of her time on one move.
I'm sure on the one hand she'll be disappointed, but then in reflection she'll be happy that she's been able to climb in this final today and give that a really good go on the route. And where she did fall, she did look like she was starting to run out of gas for sure. Pretty steady through the jump in the end when she finally did commit, but she definitely lost a lot of time deciding what to do there. The second jump up in the roof, very solid through that as well.
That's the point where she'd already run out of time, which, yeah, the local MC was hollering through his PA system, telling her to come down effectively. Yeah, so Callan's coming out next. It's Luchka Rakovic sitting in the winner's chair at the moment.
She's been there for quite a while now.
Yeah, rightly so. He was so close to the top.
Well, Slovenian number 2 out in the final now. Sasha Callan just running through a few of the moves.
2 climbers remaining after Callan. Interestingly, 3 climbers fell off the jump in the qualification. Rigora, Sasha Callan and Mina Markovic. So it's, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here.
Sasha Callan gets underway on her attempt on this final. Always good to try and move as steady and efficiently as possible up this initial section. You've got to save as much energy as possible for that steep finish to this route. No problem with the first lower wall. No issue with the clips. Steady away, nice and relaxed.
Has had good results. Jessica Allen, 6th at the World Cup in Wujiang 2018, China. A lot of these climbers will be heading to China just in a couple of weeks' time for the last 2 lead events of the season.
We've just arrived at the ledge. We're going to see the jump off. I think no matter what size you are, this is always a challenge to get on this ledge. If you're small, it's awkward. If you're tall, it's awkward.
It's just an awkward move,
It's a perfect move.
Yeah, got that right foot really close to the wall again, which makes it really hard to put any sort of pressure through it and straighten the leg to stand up. So I wonder if she will try and bring that right foot a bit close. She's kind of committed herself a little bit here. Left hand has gone out to the underside of that volume now. She's just trying to use that right hand volume a little bit. You can see it's really hard to stand up in that position considering the wall's overhanging as well. Your left foot's right underneath you. I think she's committed. She has swapped hands underneath, and that's going to make that stand up really awkward.
She needs to try and wriggle that right foot out a little bit.
Just got to watch that bolt for the left foot as well.
Having a little tussle now here. She really needs to sort herself out a little bit. She knows it. She keeps looking down and up. She tries to wriggle that foot in some way.
I think she's got so much weight on that right foot, she's actually struggling to release it. Now manages to come all the way down. I think she's going to reset and just keep it the right hand in that position. Look how much time's elapsed already. She started at 6 minutes down to 2 minutes 33 here.
Yeah, that time's dropped super fast there. Spent a lot of time on that hold.
Which hand will she go up to that undercut now with? Really doesn't look happy with this mantle. Trying it as a left hand backhand now. Now goes back down again.
Luchka just saw her there, shouting some support from the throne.
Plants that right foot again, this time a bit more flat-footed rather than on the hill, but again just struggling to get out of that position. Really struggling to get that left foot up. Got to really commit just to pulling hard on it. She's in a bit of trouble here. Jessica Allen now manages to get the left foot up, but look how bunched up she is. Almost sitting on the volume. So much hip flexibility just to even be in that position.
Trying to fight there, to try and get that left knee to drop in. She finally does it.
Big cheer from the crowd.
That was a right battle to get on there. Quick look over the shoulder. Only got 1 minute 18 on the clock, and she shakes her head. She knows that was an absolute epic battle to get there. And she really doesn't have much time. She's going to have to absolutely sprint if she's going to make it up the rankings a little bit here.
Yeah, unfortunately she's done that really slow mantle, and she's got an even slower move now. Just to add into the troubles, her bib is actually ripped and it's hanging over the top of her chalk bag lid.
Oh, going a little bit wrong for Callan at the moment.
It's a bit of a shame actually, the wheels are falling off a little bit when it comes to that mantle. Now she looks like she is going to commit to the jump. Just an awkward jump, this one. You just can't quite decide what to do. She looks like she's going to try and go statically out. Certainly hasn't got time for that, unfortunately. 10 seconds left. She might time out in the middle of this jump at the moment and does eventually fall off. She got very stressed by the mantle and then never looks comfortable on the ledge. It's a bit of a disaster for her, unfortunately. such an awkward bouldery move. It's a real shame that she couldn't put much power down through the route, really. Tap on the shoulder. It's a bit of an upset there for ClimbScotland.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be a little bit annoyed with herself on that one. It's amazing the impact one move can have on the next, and planting that foot a little bit too far into the ledge. We've seen time and time again in this final that it's all gone a bit wrong, but at the moment she just runs forward and gives Lučka a big hug. She's obviously super pleased to see Lučka sat on the throne there, currently sitting in first place with 2 more climbers to come. Anacapa Hoeven, Mina Markovic still to climb.
Mina Markovic is out next. She was absolutely superb in the semi-final. Had the high point for her all the way up till the final climber, Anacapa Hoeven, came out. And it was real vintage Mina Markovic up there. It was thoroughly enjoyable to watch. And yeah,
it certainly looks like Mina's hit some form again, that's for sure. It's been a while. She's always been knocking on the door of some good results. But she definitely looks like she is back on form, which is really, really good to see from such a legend of the Slovenian team.
Yeah, just to put it into perspective, just 21 first places in World Cup lead. That's a lot more first places than a number of these, especially in the lads, who actually entered into World Cup finals, and she's won 21 of them. 66 podiums.
Are we going to see another podium today from Mina in this European Championships, and possibly a title?
Interesting to see how Mina gets on with that bouldery section. She has actually won bouldering World Cups as well. See if she favours the sort of awkward bouldery section. That not only is it awkward, it's difficult and it's very slow. That seems to be a bit of a problem here, especially Tina Johnson-Hafsaz really struggled with it, as well as the ClimbScotland who we just saw. This move here, so we saw Laura Gore bringing up that left foot just like that. Mina Markovic, that classic Mina style. Static, strong, crimpy. Now then, let's
well, this is around the same sort of time we saw ClimbScotland arrive at this point. Mina is here again, 4 minutes something, and this was where it all went wrong for Chassa. Burnt a lot of time, but Mina has both feet up quite quickly, and she's through that a lot swifter now.
Yeah, it's
4
all
minutes
about
on the clock for Mina. That's very good going.
It's all about getting that second foot up. As soon as that comes up, it seems quite easy to stand up. Easy being a relative term, anyway. Easy for this lot. You can see the big chalk build up on that tiny little nubbin as well, just out on the right, the intermediate. Let's see how Mina gets on with this jump. Can she keep it composed and get through it? Plenty of time. She's climbed really well up to this point.
Well, she's not hanging around here. She's decided to move relatively quickly.
Just deep breaths as she lines this one up. She's committed to that position now. Looks like she's going to go for it. Pounces, drops down, loads the feet, and hits it. Bit of a full stretch.
Yeah, I was watching that right foot, and you can see the right foot slip down to the edge of the ball, and she looked down at it, and it was that decision, do I or don't I? And she went for it. It stuck, and she's made it through the dyno plenty of time.
That was great. She just quickly turned around to the crowd, fist bumped the crowd, almost say, oh, thank God for that. We got it done. Mina Markovic, the penultimate climber, now pushing into the real meat of the route. Lučka Rakovic, her compatriot from Slovenia, is sitting in the winner's chair at the moment, just one move from the top of the wall. Mina Markovic wants to dethrone her. She's got to get really, really high. Basically got to come close to or top the route. And by close, I mean she's got to get to the last move.
These next few moves have got to play into Mina's bag. I mean, she really does like the crimping. Old school, basic, nasty small holds and hard moves.
Yeah, Lučka Rakovic is the one to beat then. 46 plus is the high point at the moment. Laura Rigora just behind her on 45 plus. So Luz Tuadi, first climber out of 43. That's all right up in the top head wall.
And Mina currently making her way up the wall. She's currently at 35, hold 35. You can see on the right-hand side that ranking. The next climber she's aiming for,
this big
Tina Jonsson.
Big punch up left now, and this big committing move over. Will Mina be able to go statically and roll over? Will she get the clip first? She doesn't, just jump straight into it, full of confidence. Mina Markovic here at this European Championships. Still plenty of time with 1 minute 32 left on the clock as well. Mina Markovic now launches into this head wall, into the really steep angle change. Had the high point in the semi-final for a very long time. And you can see she's pushing close to Jessie Pills' score in the 4th position at the moment, 1 move ahead of her. What will she do here? Will she go feet first, or will she just cross straight through? What has Mina Markovic got left for us? Looks like she's going to try and cross it. No, and now she puts the right foot up and gets that little left toe hook. She kind of blocked that hold a little bit. Oh, the really nice left hand under wrap though. Super awkward this section. 42, that hold 43 is the next little spike. Got to somehow release the hands a little bit, try and get that right hand all the way around. Looks like Mina's just trying to keep going feet first. Still got time on the clock here. Mina Markovic now just unwinds it all.
That's amazing. She managed to get her feet down from that awkward position we've seen. You need the feet back down here. And couldn't quite get the hands sorted. That was a good battle by Mina there.
It was so awkward, that section.
That bumps her up into 4th place. Sadly not on the podium, but a very, very good performance from Mina there.
Yeah, she was looking really solid up to that point, has to be said, and then she really committed to wrapping that big cone hold at the top of the wall, at which point she found it really difficult to kind of unwind, try to go feet first a couple of times. Ultimately, unfortunately, in the end, seemed to just power out on those wraps. I think the way that Mina's been going this weekend, she's going to be pretty disappointed to see that she's down in 4th position and being so close to the top of the wall.
Yeah, I agree there. It's quite a complex sequence to read, though. You're forced to put the feet up one moment and then you've got to bring them down the next, and it's quite hard to actually see that sequence and how to make those movements with the feet. It's just Mina through that jump. She'll be happy, she'll be happy. There you go, punch in the air. I don't think she was looking forward to that.
At this point here in the route, she was still looking really solid. Markovic just incredibly athletic, just really crimping so much power. And when she managed to unwind the feet all the way through, it just seemed to just go from 0 pump to 100% pump, just in unwinding those hands.
Just didn't quite get the hands the right way around, and now we're looking at the leader from the semi-final, Anacapa Hoeven, the last climber of the competition this weekend. Still very young, but she just seems like Annika's been on the scene forever. 23 years old, that's unbelievable. Back from injury, but definitely hitting some form, which is great to see. Annika climbing as ever with a watch on her harness.
Final climber out in this European Championships here at Ratho. Three European Championship medals already handed out over yesterday, one today with Adam Ondra winning in the men's competition. Can Anacapa Hoeven take that final medal? She'd have to take it away from Lučka Rakovic, who was right at the top of the wall, as we were just saying.
Anak moving nicely up this bottom wall, opts for that high step into the left hand, drilling that toe. And now for the awkward mount up on this big horizontal box. It's proven to be the downfall of a few climbers. Not that they've actually fallen off it, but it is a real battle sometimes and can take some real energy out of the climber. And it gets both feet up quite comfortably there.
Now got to really pull hard in that right hand just to start powering through the feet. Drops the left foot back down.
We have seen already that the easiest way with both feet on that box is left foot outside edge and front on in this position. There we go, we get the twist onto the outside edge and steadily through that. Looks really powerful, that method.
Yeah, it just opens the body up by twisting a little bit there, a bit more room for the legs to start pushing through them. So awkward when you've got your hands and your feet so close together. A lot of leg power required all of a sudden. Now, this jump for Anak. A few issues with jumps in the past. More than capable of doing it though. Looks like she's committing to it quite early. Or at least goes to feel that little intermediate hold. Currently got her right foot pasted far left. Looks like she's going to try and jump it from there. You can see the calculations going on in Anacapa Hoeven's mind almost there. Looks like she's going to kick it. Oh my! She has fallen off. Anacapa Hoeven, so steady, normally so controlled. Usually goes to everything with such calculation. That time she thought it was more of a running jump and just absolutely blasted for it. Anacapa Hoeven falls at the bottom of the wall. The jump, the only climber to fall off it, she'll end up 8th. And Lučka Rakovic from Slovenia, with that epic battle, finished with a 46+ and wins the competition. Laura Gora walks away with a silver medal, and Luce Duardi comes away with 3rd. Luce Duardi, a superb performance, was the first climber out and put in just an extraordinary fight up to hold 43. She takes away the bronze medal. And that took us by surprise there a little bit. We hadn't seen anybody fall off that jump. And we're just saying that Anak's had a few problems with jumps in the past. And that one you would have thought would suit her quite well.
Yeah, but those top 3 though, I mean, all of those podium climbers climbed absolutely to their max. Luce Duardi putting that performance in at very early doors, 15 years old. Laura, one of the smaller competitors in the final, managed to get through that box section and through the jump and very high onto the wall. And Lučka Rakovic, very, very good, very strong, taking the win at 46+. What a fantastic performance.
Yeah, to fall off one move, or half a move to the top, she was going for the last hold. It's fair play. Ultimately, the best climber has won this European Championships, and that's what we want to see. She was definitely the best on the route. Absolutely superb all weekend, in fact, for Lučka Rakovic. And a brisk end to the end of the women's competition there.
Big smiles there, Lučka and her coach, Domen. Very, very happy team down there. Laura as well, very excited. Sadly, Anak wasn't to be today, but she must be happy with the performance over the weekend. I mean, that's the thing she'll take away and have a look at it. She did very, very well over the weekend.
Just a quick flower ceremony now before the full podium gets underway. Now Rigora gets announced to the crowd. Look at that smile from Luce Duardi and Laura Rigora there. It's Lučka Rakovic with that score of 46+, who takes it.
Certainly big smiles all around there. 3 very happy climbers.
So do stick with us. We will be bringing you 4 podiums over the next few minutes. I hope you enjoyed that one. Interesting routes, Gaz.
Well, the route setters do ride a very fine line when it comes to putting a trick boulder in like that, and we saw that it was like a double challenge. It was hard to get set up, hard to get onto the volume, and then quite a mental game to do the jump. And only one scalp, thankfully, in the women's, only one.
Yeah, we saw 2 people fall on the jump in the men's competition, and that one was more sort of a powerful jump with slightly slippery feet. But yeah, in the women's competition, that really awkward mantle up onto the volume, and then there's always a slightly awkward jump. And like you said, it was a bit of a shame. We'll just hear, if we can, from I think it's the local mayor.
Athletes and coaches, families and supporters, good afternoon. I hope that you have, over the last 3 days, enjoyed Scotland's capital and this internationally renowned indoor climbing centre here at Ratho. The climbing centre is a description, a reflection of the fact that Edinburgh is an active city, a city passionate about getting those who live here outside to enjoy themselves. Although this appears to be inside, you have to remember that this is actually an old quarry, so you are actually sitting in the outside. The last 3 days have been fantastic climbing. It's had the most intense climbing, I think, showcasing the talents of all the climbers from all over Europe in the lead, speed and boulder categories. And while it's inevitable that there have to be winners in all these competitions, I want to personally recognise the talents of all the competitors that have been here over the last few days and congratulate each and every one in achieving what is a phenomenally high standard in their sport. It's truly remarkable, both individually and collectively. These individuals, apart from competing for themselves, are obviously representative of their country and their own climbing sports club, and you do each of those proud in the way that they've performed over the last few days. But of course there are people behind each of the climbers, and I think it's correct to recognise the coaches and the supporters of each of these climbers who help support them, help get them to the stage that they're at. Without that support, they wouldn't be able to perform the way that they've performed for us over the last few days. Edinburgh has a great reputation of actually having legacy events, and a lot of these sporting events results in about 80% of people actively taking part afterwards. So I would like to thank the federations for choosing Edinburgh for this European event, because the legacy that you will leave here in the capital is something that the citizens will enjoy for years to come. I think finally I'd just like to wish all the athletes who are working towards representing their country in their specialist field the very best of luck and success as they head towards the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. I think if you're building on what we have seen today over the last 3 days, I think there's a great chance that we're going to see some significant medal winners who have been on show here today. So well done and thank you.
Well, just as the sort of announcements are being made here, everyone's preparing for the podiums, we can just bring you those final results once again. That is going to be the women's presentation. Mina Markovic-Gaz, she's, we've been saying that she's been really good. She's been on form. She's back in Mina of best, but a little bit disappointed for her. That 42 plus, she's powered out in that sort of left to right traverse at the top of the wall. Yeah,
I was expecting a little bit more at the top section of that wall, but she didn't seem to quite get her hands the right way around. So when she did manage to drop the foot down, it wasn't really going to work for her. It was definitely a hard section to read. That was just you arrive there, put the feet up, work out what to do, you just got to go with the flow. And obviously Luchka and Lara did that very, very well there. Mina didn't quite find the method.
You can see the men's competition. Was it ever in doubt? Adam Ondra, arguably one of the greatest climbers of all time, wins this one, 45 plus, 7 moves ahead of Alberto Inés Lopez from Spain. The young Spanish athlete is just doing so well this year in 2019, and plenty of big things for him to come still. Sasha Lehmann, obviously World Cup winner from this year, takes away the bronze medal in front of Martin Burgant based on count back to the previous round. But good efforts from Nimrod Marcus, Jim Pope and Luka Potka. Jakob Schubert, it was that just horrendous slip at the start of the jump. Barely even actually got into the jump, it just slipped early, unfortunately. That's a real shame for him.
Yeah, it was fantastic for Jim to make it into that final. And sadly, Jakob, for him, it wasn't to be. He didn't quite show his best, having that slip on the jump for sure. He didn't quite get to challenge Adam. He's one of the few climbers in that final that could really give Adam a run for his money.
Good to see 3 different nationalities on the podium today: France, Italy and Slovenia. It will be the Slovenian national anthem for Lučka Rakovic, and the amount of times we've heard that this season with Janja Garnbret sweeping the season, and the Slovenian team just seems unstoppable.
You must know all the words by now to that anthem.
Yeah, that is not far wrong actually.
But yeah, you are absolutely right. The Slovenian team are definitely a force to be reckoned with, and we're always focusing on Janja Garnbret, but here today you have 3 young, very talented up-and-coming climbers that at some point will certainly be giving Janja a run for their money.
Yeah, Luz Tawadi, superb 2019 for her, and she was the first climber out and put on an absolutely epic battle that was thoroughly enjoyable to watch. And yeah, congratulations to Luz, such a young climber, to take away the bronze medal at European Championships after her staggering Youth World Championships. And talking about Youth World Championships, that's the Youth World Champion. Well, one of them, Laura Gora, silver medal here. That really suited her actually in the end after the big jump that was the undoing of Anacapa Hoeven. She takes away the silver medal. Winning this one though, it's going to be a Slovenian once again, who's just having the most extraordinary 2 weeks. Lučka Rakovic, your 2019 European champion representing Slovenia. Half a move from topping the route. Brilliant performance from her.
Well, she's definitely hit some form the last few weeks, like you say, Michael. That was a fantastic performance, and she was very, very close to hitting the top of that route. It was a brilliant performance, and I think from the setting point of view, a well-judged standard for today.
We will now be hearing the Slovenian national anthem that I won't be singing along to. Your European champion, taking the medals, taking the swag away, a little
whiskey
snifter
there.
of whiskey there.
Yeah.
I think, well, for Luz and Laura Gore, she's 18, isn't she? Otherwise, they'd be giving it to their parents. And I think bring it up here. Actually, it's absolutely freezing where we are. But there we go. Finalists taking the applause from the crowd just a minute ago and standing there for the photos.
Lots of smiles on that podium. That's what we like to see. Some young climbers really coming through and making it in the senior game today. So next up we are going to move on to the men's podium. Just down at the front, they will get themselves sorted with the medals. Hopefully they've not lost them. Find those little miniature bottles of whiskey.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people trying to rob those.
A few of those gone missing as well, yeah. Looks like we're ready to go with the men's presentation.
Medals will be presented to Mr. Wolfgang Ratho, President of the IFSC European Council. Gifts will be presented by the Lord Provost of Edinburgh, Mr. Frank Ross. Bronze medals representing Switzerland, Sascha Lehmann.
Sascha Lehmann takes another medal in 2019, then he swoops the bronze.
Certainly been a good year for Sascha up till now. Still a few more events to go, but second medal of the season.
Good job here from the organisers. All round really. It's been a good weekend action. If you haven't had a chance to check the speed finals just last night, semi-finals this morning, and obviously this finals tonight, it's been pretty decent action all the way through. Alberto Inez Lopez then from Spain takes away another medal. He's obviously, as per Luchka, really having a superb week of IFSC action.
A real fighter. He's a
podiums in
great
nearly a
climber
week.
to watch. Been a
Yeah,
good
you
week for him, like you say, Michael. 2 podiums.
Had his eye on that whiskey pretty quick there. Eh? Yeah, he's pleased with that.
Gold medalist is the winner of the Edinburgh Leisure European Championship 2019, representing Czech Republic,
Adam Ondra, though, he is the world champion. He's now the European champion. Absolutely superb weekend's work for him. Very rarely disappoints on the lead wall. He was the best climber of the day in the men's competition on that final route. Absolutely blasted through the jump and then pushed really high up into the final roof section. Just 4 moves pretty much from the very top of the wall, where he got a little bit caught in some awkward sequences. And we'll now hear the Czech national anthem. There we go, that's the men's presentation. 3 very talented young men put on a great show here this weekend. I say congratulations to all of the organisers, the live stream team here, and of course the athletes themselves. I say a huge thank you to everybody for tuning in to this European Lead and Speed Finals from Edinburgh. Don't forget next IFSC events in October, Xiamen in China, Inzai and in Japan, and of course the big one, the Toulouse Olympic qualifiers in November.
Well, I'd just like to say a very big thank you to you all watching out there and to the organisers here, and I'd just like to say it's a goodbye from me and it's a goodbye from Michael. Goodbye.
See you at the next one. Bye.